Are we live? Is it on?
We're live! Woo, woo, woo! All right, guys. Welcome back. Callum, it's been quite a week.
Hey, hey. That's all I got.
Okay, right on. Easy enough. Easy enough. Well, today, Callum's going to tell you what we are going to be talking about.
Yeah, today we're actually doing something really awesome. We're going to talk not about gear. We're going to tell you why your gear doesn't matter. It's really simple. We're going to talk to you about why gear doesn't matter. We're going to show you some examples of awesome things we've seen on the internet where the gear is pretty much probably, and to all effects, entry level. And then, we've also got a huge, last week we gave you a little competition to throw us an F8 photo. Hashtag your next shot. Raymond, do you want to tell them about that? Did you get something good?
I sure did. I just ran a promotion trying to get some more engagements for couples. Booked quite a few on Saturday. I shot 3 engagement sessions back to back to back to back, which was just crazy. I was all over town, but I got some great stuff. Took out all the new Fuji gear, and I'm pretty happy with what I got. And another little surprise is that I shot it in JPEG, and when editing these photos, I'm just blown away with the amount of detail that I still have from a JPEG. So I'm excited to show you guys that.
That's awesome. I've got a really good one from a really recent wedding. But I do want to follow up with last week. Last week we showed SharkDB, user SharkDB's photo from Photo Critique on Reddit. We're still waiting to hear from him. I've thrown it out in the world. If he gets back to me, we're going to hopefully pull him on. If you recall, that was a really cool photo taken with, I think it was a D3200, if I remember correctly, on an 18 to 55 kit lens. Beautiful photo in the fog with a biker on a bridge. If you get the chance, check out the link in our description on YouTube, which I'm sure Raymond has put up. And if he hasn't, he will.
You know it. Absolutely will. It is not up. I mean, just kidding. If you're watching this, it's up right now. Go check it out. So it will be in the description.
Cool.
So do you want to start off with your photo?
Sure. Let me throw up my screen share.
Cool. And just to remind everybody, the photo that we're talking about was shot at, I believe, like an F11 or something. And that really kind of sparked it in my head that it was like, you know what? It doesn't matter how fast your lens is. A lot of people try to shoot at 1.2, 1.4, 2.8, and think that that's the only way that you can get professional looking photos. But this guy shot it at an F11, looked super awesome. And that's kind of also what started this week's challenge, is that I wanted to prove that photography just isn't about fast lenses and that we can shoot it at a narrower f-stop.
Cool. So I'm just getting up my screen, making sure it works. All right, that should work. All right, screen share for you guys. So mine's actually at F8 as we agreed, but we won't give Raymond a hard time because this is an F11. I believe he's
No. Mine's also at an F8. Last week was an F11.
Yes, last week was F11, which was an amazing photograph. So everyone can see my screen share now. You can see Raymond, pretty good looking guy. This is my F8 photo.
Hey.
So
let me focus on just you. There we go. I like that, man. The color is great.
Yeah, if you are just listening to us, the photo I'm showing off here is actually, it's a pocket watch that the groom had given to all the groomsmen. This is the actual groom's pocket watch. Very cool stuff. So I shot this with my macro lens, and I showed the macro lens last week or the week before, I believe, and it was like $100 macro lens from the 80s or 90s. Very cool, easy to use macro lens. This guy is at f8 for obvious reasons. I had very little depth of field with the macro lens. So I stopped all the way down to f8, but what I really wanted to highlight with this very cool pocket watch is obviously all the gears that you can see working inside. So yeah, so I set it there. I kind of rested it on some other stuff going on the table to keep me still and shot away.
Yeah.
So that's the one I wanted to share this week.
Dude, I love it. I think that this is awesome. Those colors, it's so gold, it just pops for sure, especially compared. Is it black or is it just kind of like a? I know sometimes like when you photograph like silver rings, sometimes they look black.
Yeah, no, the pocket watch is actually like a gunmetal black
That
almost.
is so cool. I love that. It's nice and cool. It's nice and warm. And obviously, with the macro, you do got to stop down unless you just want an unusable photo. I think that's a great example, man.
Yeah, so here's even another, you can see just a bit more detail on the outside of it in this one. But yeah, great shot at f8. Don't always got to be at 2.4. I don't think I would have gotten the focus on the gears at 2.4.
Oh,
There just wouldn't have been the depth of field. But I wanted to go that way because I think Raymond is not using macro in his f8 shot this week.
Nope, it's a portrait.
I gotcha. Cool. All right, so I will take myself off the screen share.
No. Okay.
Yes.
So then that means that it's my turn, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for mine, the couple wanted to meet out at a local state park, right? And it's a pretty well-known state park, and a lot of other photographers go there because it's like really pretty and stuff. So I always try to do something different. And this one, I didn't really do anything different, but I think that the lines of the trees look really cool. So I made a, what I'm about to show you is the before and after. So let's see if I pull that up. Screen share, Lightroom right there. Okay, so now I don't know how much detail you can see on the original. So this is the before on the left-hand side. Cool. Completely blown out, right?
Yeah.
That's at f8. As you can see, 30th of a second. I just took it to test the setting, and the shot after this one, I stopped down. But I wanted to push myself when it came to editing and just see kind of the power of these Fuji JPEGs. So just to clarify, I did shoot JPEG plus RAW.
Cool.
Just to be safe, but I only brought in the JPEGs into Lightroom just to see what I could do with them. So on the left is the before, and then on the right is the after. So I kind of, thank you very much. I kind of decided that, if I'm going to shoot it in f8 and I'm going to have, basically everything is in focus, kind of like what we talked about last week, the lines were going to be super important. So I found this nice big tree to put them right in. It's, it's a focal point. And on top of that, up top is the sun. So your eye is just going to naturally go to the center line of the photo, I think. And then they're just kind of blocked in by this other set of trees right here. I gave them a little bit of clarity and, Lightroom's new dehaze a little bit just to pop them out. And that was it. As you can see here on the left, I don't know how much detail you can see, but basically right here and above, this whole circle is just nothing, not a thing. But bringing it into Lightroom really cleaned it up. So if anybody's wondering about these JPEGs coming out of this Fuji camera, this came out of the Fuji X100T.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. You've been really trying to talk me in weeks now of getting one of these.
Yeah. Well, I bought it as just a travel camera.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's super light, right? So it's gonna do just it's gonna be a great travel camera for you.
It's this right here. I mean, it's super small. It fits, the lens hood can come off. It'll fit in a pocket, essentially. It's a pretty small profile. It's got Wi-Fi built in, which I didn't think that I was going to use a lot, but I end up using it all the time because I also have one of those Instax printers. So I printed out, not this shot, but it's another one that I actually stopped down and was more properly exposed in the JPEG and printed it out right there on the spot and gave it to them. And they were just blown away by that.
Super cool. Yeah, I have friends who on the Nikon D750 that has Wi-Fi capabilities, pretty much at weddings, who will shoot, and they'll find a shot they really love, and they will hook it up to their phone and put it on Instagram right there during dinner.
Yeah.
Hashtag it with your couple's wedding hashtag, and people go bananas with that. I'm still holding off on the D750 right now, even though it's like amazing. I've just not gotten around to picking up one for myself. But yeah, amazing thing. And also I love those Instax printers.
Great.
I'm always interested in seeing those. that was a great photo, Raymond. I think to show people obviously two things. You can shoot with a Fuji in JPEG and come away with like top-notch, amazing stuff. Nice sun flare in the photo and everything.
Yeah, it's all about, you know, you got to do camera tests. This was one of the things, the reason why I made this, this was all a contest on Facebook that I did, and I only chose a handful of couples because I want to test these out more. Eventually, I want to shoot weddings on nothing but these. So this is just a great excuse for me to go out, put it through its paces, try to find its weaknesses so that come wedding day, I'm not stuck and had no idea that this was going to happen and I miss a shot. So it's all about playing to a camera's advantages and knowing its disadvantages and staying as far away as possible from them.
Cool. Awesome.
Awesome.
So we should talk about the no gear worries. Pretty much the whole point of this podcast.
Yes.
So yeah, this podcast, last week we talked to you about quite a lot of stuff, and we thought maybe this week we just wanted to kind of get out there that whatever you have in your hand right now is great. And we have some really cool examples. I think I've pulled mine off Flickr, and I have the users' names, and some of them are watermarked, which is great because then I can give them credit. And I think we're gonna try and reach out to them too and see if we can get one of them to maybe even come on after SharkDB from last week, if we can ever get them all together in the internet sphere. Do you want to show your photos first there, Raymond?
Yeah, sure, of course. Kind of one of the main things that I was looking for a few reasons, were a variety of things. So I wanted to look for a camera that everybody's either heard of or everybody has when they first start off. And in the Canon world, which is where I came from and kind of still hang out in, is the Canon T3i. So this is very basic. You know, you can pick it up at Walmart or you know, any big box store, any retail store with a kit lens for, I think new, it was under, maybe it was like $4.99. You know, I don't know how much it was, but I know that a lot of people had it. So I wanted to look for that because that just shows that for the price point, you know, you can still get great things, and you don't need a lens that costs 10 times as much as your camera did to get great results. But another few things that I was looking for was, well, the history of photography has a lot to do with why your gear doesn't matter, but why you think it does. So a few years ago, when I was in film school, my mom, kind of as a present to me, gave me a Pentax K1000, right? I think that everybody had this camera right here. Pentax K1000. It's a film camera. It's awesome. I mean, it's the only camera I still think to this day that you can shoot without any batteries. It needs no batteries. There's nothing. It's completely winds. I'm probably wrong. I'm probably going to hear all about that later on anyway because of the internet. But when she gave it to me, she said, you know, this was your dad's camera, and he loved it. He shot, you know, everything with it. He got it at Sears for $200, right? And I thought, yeah, like it's cool, but it's an old film camera, you know, like how good is it going to be? But where the disconnect was that with film cameras, people still buy like old Leica cameras from the 60s. Because they all have one thing in common, and that's that they shoot film.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that film is better than digital, but what I mean by that is that suddenly the body doesn't matter as much because the body doesn't control the image. What the body enables you to do is select your shutter speed, which only goes up to a 1/1000th of a second. Oh my gosh, that's almost embarrassing today. You manually control your aperture, your focus, and then the film that you select is what decides your film speed. Right. So typically, I don't know, if you were to go to, you know, a big box store, what kind of film would you buy, Callum? Like what speed would it be?
I don't know. Let's go with the Portra 400s.
There you go. 400 speed. 400. 400.
That's it.
When was the last? I mean, with cameras today, I don't shoot anything less than like 1600. And that's because I want a faster shutter speed, you know? So digital now enables us to be able to shoot at higher ISOs. But back in the day, I think that they had experimental film that was 3200. So think of ISO 3200. And when you got it back, it was just grainy and almost unusable, but you used it at a party and you know, you remember the moments, and that's why you kept these photos, even though they were technically bad photos.
Right.
But now I have photos in Lightroom that I took at ISO 8000 that I delivered to the clients. 8,000. I mean, what
also the same. Deliver all the time. 6400 ISO.
There you go. That's a full stop. That's a full stop faster than 3200. I've gone a stop and a half past 3200. That's just extra light coming in. And we deliver these because, you know, it captures the moment, right? So back in the day when all you got to do was choose your film speed, everything else was the same. It didn't matter your body. You know, I mean, you could have faster lens, you could have, you know, essentially film itself is full frame. Obviously, that's where the term came from, was a full film frame.
Equivalent to the 35 mil film.
Yes,
yep.
Exactly. So now everybody wants to keep upgrading because, you know, ISO is better, autofocus is better. Now the cameras have Wi-Fi and all the stuff built into it, which are all great. All of these things are great, right? I love Wi-Fi. We just talked about. I'll send a photo over to a printer, boom, print it out and give it to a couple. You couldn't have done that 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You know, you couldn't have done that. But the point is, at its basics, all that you need to do is control your shutter speed, your aperture, and your film speed. That's all that you need to do. And that's kind of why I highlighted the Canon T3i, is because for one, you can do all those things. It doesn't have the fancy Wi-Fi. It doesn't even have a really good autofocus system. But these things you can change. And that, like I said, like the exposure triangle, that's all that matters, is the film speed, the aperture, and the shutter speed. And that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by screen sharing some of these photos. Did you have anything to add to that, Callum?
No, I think that was a really good summary on kind of the progression through the history. And it really is what it comes down to. I do weddings. Raymond does weddings. That's kind of how we know each other, obviously. But any photographer worth their salt doing portrait work, food photography, baby photography, it's the same principles. You have a shutter, you have an aperture, and you have a film speed, or what we call now just ISO. ISO, some people, I'm sure someone will also yell at me about that. There's 1,000 ways you could probably say it. And as long as you know how to control those, your camera is sort of, to some extent, irrelevant. But not to say it is totally irrelevant, but it is irrelevant. Exactly. You can go out and shoot with anything. I have, like, I'll literally grab, I think we're on, I'll bring it down for after, but I'll show you just so we have some stuff ready here. I have a couple old cameras, like super duper old, and they'll shoot still. And I'll show you guys that later. But Raymond, why don't you kick us off here? What are we seeing here? This is in a church?
All right, so this is the photo right here that I chose. It's by user CJ Melm, I guess. I'm not sure where he's from. I'm guessing Germany, or I really don't know. But if we just look,
Minster, in England.
Oh, there we go. We'll go with that. As you can see right here, the EOS 600D is the Canon T3i. This is the kit lens, 18-55. He shot this at f/5.6, 18 mil, ISO 5,000. 5,000. Like, a lot of people who are new to photography don't understand how crazy this is in the world of film.
That
wasn't
crazy.
A thing. So, crazy. If we look at this photo, it's taken at 18 mil, which I believe is like a 27 mil equivalent on a crop sensor. But if there was a couple right there in the middle, this would be an amazing photo. He played to the camera's disadvantages so well. I guarantee that he brought up shadows, you know, brought in some extra detail here, maybe an extra bit of, you know, saturation because of the high ISO.
Yeah, he pushed it a little bit.
But like I said, if that couple was right there and this was your wedding, you would love that photo, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's a great photo. It's a great photo. So this next one is kind of an outdoor night shot.
Oh, that is pretty.
Specifically because it's a night shot. It's also pretty wide, but again, 18-55. And this one is a competitor. He took this one at an f10.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So what he decided to do was bring the ISO all the way down to have the best grain structure and had a 15-second exposure to be able to capture in enough light. But as you can see through the fog, you can see this lens or this light flare right here. And I can easily tell that, you know, he brought this down in Lightroom with these lights right here. But it doesn't distract me. If I'm looking right here in the middle, I really don't care about those lights. I think that this is an awesome photo to show off that you can still use it at night.
It's a great black and white conversion. I think it's super pretty. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, it really gives this kind of mysterious feel because you don't know how big that building is, right?
Yeah, you sort of lose, I think, a little bit of depth, and you sort of lose kind of just, oh, what are we seeing here? Just some size on it. So it's really, I think that was really, really well done, especially with the kit lens when they can struggle sometimes because they do limit them in shutter speeds and lengths. But he played to the night shot. Now he or she played to the night shot, and it just looks great.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a he or she. I'm gonna guess it's a he, and that could be sexist of me, so I apologize. I'm just not well versed in, I suppose, German names. But yeah, it looks like he took this right at about, you know, 9:45 p.m. And you know, if you go out at 9:45, you know that it's gonna be dark outside. So I think that he just did a great job of this, or the photographer rather just did a great job with this, and I love it. So shout out to him. If you want to check out any other work by this awesome photographer, we're going to reach out to them, but of course the link to their Flickr will be in the description box.
Cool.
So now what have we covered? We've covered the church, we've covered the venue, and now a portrait.
Oh, cool.
So I'm not sure if this was at a wedding or if this is just a friend, but it looks like this guy is a pro, or at least they have a pro account.
Okay.
I think Flickr requires you to have some sort of certification, whether it be, you know, the amount of photos that you upload or whatever it is, to be considered a pro. I'm not sure about that, and I know that somebody's going to correct me. However, the point is that this could be a bridesmaid. This could be the bride, right?
Mm-hmm. It could be. It could be anyone.
It could be anybody. And here we go. We go down here, and this was the Canon T3i and a $100 50 mil 1.8.
Wow.
And not only that, it wasn't even taken at 1.8. It was taken at 2.8.
It looks great.
It looks fantastic because the lighting is nice and soft. It has a great lines with the wall right there. It's nice and out of focus on the left side of your frame. The right side of your frame has some good color in it, and your eye almost goes right to this woman right here. The only thing that I would, you know, change about this is maybe get even closer to the wall just to kind of frame her head in this door a little bit more.
Sure. I was even going to say I like that it was pulled back a little bit because then I get a sense of where they are instead of just like it could be a brick old stone castle. It could have been a modern new house. It looks like it's a bit of a retrofit house or something going on there. I was kind of into it that it was pulled back, and then I saw some foliage in the background. But
yeah,
you know, different eyes. Raymond likes to get closer.
I love to get close, but you know, I mean, you know, point is what it comes down to is lighting. Yeah. Because that's all that photography is the way that you capture light. So, I mean, I think that he did a fantastic job here. There was no flash, which at first, when I first saw it, I thought that there might have been off to the side here. But, I mean, unless he was using some sort of radio trigger, it
doesn't look like it. It looks pretty natural. It looks like it might have been an overcast day.
Yes.
I don't see any really harsh sunlight anywhere. So, a beautiful photo.
Yeah, great editing, great, you know, beautiful model, great foliage, awesome, you know, depth, just by the composition.
Great job, Kevin. Great job.
Thank you, Kevin. There you go. He will also be in the show notes as well as the description.
Cool.
So then the next photo, you ready for this one?
Yeah, let's see this one.
I'm only saying this because I forget which photo this is, so it might not be anything spectacular. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that is absolutely beautiful. If you are only listening to us, Raymond's just flicked over to a photo by Zele Garcia. Beautiful landscape photo with two people silhouetted off into the distance. Absolutely gorgeous. I like it because it's dark. I'm a softie for dark, mysterious photos.
Oh man, you
But
and I
talk to us
both,
about
man.
this.
So going down again, this is. I would not be surprised by looking at the info again. T3i 18 to 55 lens, kit lens. It was taken at an f4, 500th of a second at ISO 100 at 18 mils. It would not surprise me in the least if this person was just out walking one night down by the water and said, hey, you know what? Look at those people over there. Pulled up their camera and took the shot. This doesn't look staged. Who knows? It could be friends. It could be kids. Again, who knows? But imagine, just imagine that right there is a bride and groom.
So quick, easy, and it's gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful.
It's gorgeous. Look at the sun on this rock right here. This beautiful red glowing sun. I'm guessing it's either sunset or sunrise. It is
Looks like it's
no
sunset
11 p.m. 6:20. There you go. So it's got to be sunsetting. It's just gorgeous. Looking at this, I'm going to start looking for more opportunities where I can take this silhouette. I think that it's just fantastic.
It's beautiful. Absolutely love it.
So I don't know how to pronounce your name. How'd you say it?
Zele?
Zele? Okay, we're going to go with that. Great job. Great job. Look at this. 15 views, 1 comment. You know, these are the sort of things that just...
Deserves more.
What's that?
Deserves more views. I think that's a great photo.
Yeah, I hope that more people see this photo. And I think that this has a lot to do with, you know, why a lot of beginning photographers struggle, which is that they don't want to showcase a lot of their work. But that is an entirely different podcast episode. Maybe We'll bring her on and, you know, try to help her out and get her a few more views, huh?
Yeah, I agree. Let's reach out for sure, as we will to everyone.
Okay, so now this last one. Say what you want about the pose. It's kind of Pinteresty. It's people who are just listening. They're facing each other. They're holding hands. They're about, you know, 2 or 3 feet apart, and then they're just leaning in and kissing in the middle. Looks like they're on a path, or they are on a path, rather. Beautiful fall day. But what really attracted me to this photo was, for one, the editing. I think that this is a great edit on this photo. It looks very natural. Their skin doesn't look too yellowed from the, you know, the yellow tint of the leaves, which can happen a lot in the fall. It's not too green. And I don't know if it's the jeans or, you know, her black, but it just pops to me, which is kind of what you want in a photo, right? You want the people to pop.
The whole image looks really good. It's and just what you mentioned is one of the things I see a lot, especially from beginning photographers. And, you know, even I can be at risk of it sometimes because I'm not paying attention too much. You know, if I'm out with my dog or my fiance, is sun will hit the foliage, no matter what color, green, orange, red, and it tints often the people's skins, and then you run the risk of people looking like aliens or they've got mega tans. But this is just executed beautifully. I really love even though you might think it's a Pinteresty, I think it's still a cute photo. If this is their personality and what they're like, I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah, you know, it all depends on the couple and what it is that they like. And I'm sure that they like this photo. You know, maybe I would have composed it a little differently. I would have pointed the camera up so that there was less, you know, foot space, because the path isn't as interesting as the trees. But aside from that, I mean, knockout job. So when I was looking at this photo, oh, here we go again. Sorry. This was also taken with a T3i, the Canon 600D, with the $100 50 mil 1.8. And she did take this at 1.8, which is good. Again, she played to the lens strengths, and that's why a lot of people buy the lens, because it's pretty fast. She shot it at 1,000th of a second, which is, you know, great. I'm always a fan of, you know, a pretty fast shutter speed to freeze action.
Keeps it sharp. Yep.
Oh, yeah. But in her description right here is a link to her Facebook page. So just being the Facebook stalker that I am, I went to it just to see if it was a one-off. And this is her most recent photo. But if you come down here and you look at her photos, her body of work is several things. And one of them is consistent.
That is awesome.
so important is consistency.
Look how awesome, look at the work you can make and how awesome it can be, even with just beginner stuff. Am I just wasting my own money, Raymond? And I could just go back to my like entry-level Nikon? I
Right,
mean,
right.
I say that half jokingly, but it is a serious statement. Like I go out, on trips and I go out for day walks to the gallery or wherever to the park. I could really just be carrying a brand new camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Kit lens.
And that was one thing that when we were off the air, I joked about. But that is Charlie. He is ready to go poop in the potty. So that'll make 4 today. Good job, dude. Go ahead.
Nice, go Charlie.
He's getting his fiber. But let's see if we go back. He just said fiber. Okay. If we go back on her page, though, she shows, I'm guessing, all of her equipment. A lot of things that beginners love to do is show off their gear as if the client's even going to know what they mean by this, which, 9 times out of 10, they don't. But she shows it, which is good for us. T3i, the $100 Nifty 50. She's got her kit lens and then a $100 75 to 300 mil lens. So this whole kit, $800, $900. I've spent more than that on a single lens. I'm sure that you have too, Callum, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And just look at this work. So like I said, I was half joking off the air with Callum, but I said, man, I'm looking at these people's work and I'm thinking, I have got to get better. Just with the amount of gear that I have, if you think that it's exponential, it's not. Can you hear that in the background?
Oh, we can hear that.
He pooped in the potty.
Great job, Charlie.
So I'm going to stop screen sharing real quick. Let's see, cancel this. But I know that you can attest. Oh, there I am. I know that you can attest to that as well, that the photos do not become better exponentially based on how much you spend, right?
Oh, no. It's very much, you can even be backwards to that. You could buy all the gear and still take horrible photos for years. It makes no difference, really, to some extent.
And now Callum has found a photo that's taken with professional equipment, right?
Yeah, this is top-of-the-line Nikon gear, D4S.
You can't get any better than that right now, right?
That is the top-of-the-line Nikon right now. Yeah, it's pretty much what a lot of sports shooters will use. It shoots, some crazy amount of frames per second. I think it's like 11 or 12 or something now. I think it's like a $7,000 camera or more. It's absolutely insane, but it is a great camera for specific uses. But I'm going to screen share right here.
Now, just to clarify, this photo does not mean by any stretch of the imagination that this person is a bad photographer. This is just to highlight, or I guess compare, that a $700 entire kit can do something better than a $7,000 body.
It's absolutely true. It's they can compete if you put them in the same studio with the same model with the same lighting and hook their triggers up to them next to side by side at the same ISO. 9 times out of 10, it would probably take the same shot. It's all about the person executing. Oh, it didn't want to allow me to screen share a portion of my thing, so I'll just screenshot this. Just do this, and here we are. So, can everyone see that?
Yeah, we can see it. Let me focus on.
That's about as big as it gets there.
Okay.
And so yeah, this is just one I pulled from the internet. It's a D4S shot. I mean, this is fun. I think anyone with a T3i, a Nikon D3200, could take this photo. And if you're just listening into us, this is just a photo of, it looks like a little valley with a river running through it. On the left side, you have some kind of rock face with a bit of a drop off, and just some, it looks maybe either post-winter and starting to melt, or actually, no, it should be fall because all the dead leaves are on the ground. Mm-hmm. So we're looking probably at this time frame right now. And you know, there's nothing nothing that says only a Nikon D4S could take this photo.
Right.
I think that's what I wanted to highlight. I think you could take this photo with a T3i, the 600D,
Or an iPhone.
or an iPhone for that matter. And I think that speaks volumes to that you don't have to worry about spending $8,000 to have a top of the line camera with lens.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's kind of one of those all right photos. You know, there's nothing technically horrible about it, but there's nothing compelling about the photo. So again, remember that this by no means that this person is a bad photographer. Honestly,
Absolutely.
these are just examples. So I just found one as well. I just looked for a Nikon D750 group. So right now,
Picking on Nikon today.
no. I didn't know that you were going for the Nikon as well. Just let me know.
Because he's a Canon user. He wants to bring all us Nikon users down.
That's right. Look at this photo. It's terrible. No, I'm just kidding. But, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the D750 is kind of king of weddings right now, right?
The D750 is what Nikonians think is, yeah, it does all the things you need it to for a wedding just perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anyone who's gotten a D750 who shoots weddings that doesn't like it.
Yeah. I don't know a lot of Nikon shooters, but I've heard of 3 different accounts where people have sold their D4s to get D750s. So they technically went down.
That was smart.
Yeah, and they're happy with it. They're happy with it. So I'm going to show this photo right now, okay? So remember, this is taken with a D750, kind of king, I think, of all digital cameras of the wedding world right now. Beats the 5D Mark III, just blows it away. The dynamic range, it's a fantastic sensor. They knew what they were doing. Everybody loves this camera. Here you go. This is it. This is the photo. It's a boat.
In the water.
In the water.
Okay. Not a bad photo in of itself, but nothing...
not only is this photo whatever, but the way that it's been edited says that it's an amateur. With this,
I mean,
tone, it just says like this guy was really trying to go for like an 1800s type of look, and it didn't work.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's all about what artistic effect boils down to. I mean, this doesn't scream that it's been used by a top-of-the-line full-frame camera. I mean, not to say that it's bad or good in and of itself, and we're not saying this is a bad photo individually. But I think if we pulled out a D3200 for Nikon or the T3i for Canon, a very similar image could be taken.
Yes, and guys, I want to clarify right now because I'm looking right now as we speak to this guy's photo stream on Flickr, and he is an amazing photographer. But he clearly specializes in very few things, and it's not weddings. It's lots of landscapes. It's lots of nature and like wildlife. So weddings isn't exactly his forte.
Cool.
But the rest of his work, it's good. It's good work. And for some reason, I'm purple all of a sudden. So I don't know.
That happens.
But the point is that, you know, the gear that you got doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go over my, I guess, I had 3 photos I wanted to quickly share that were taken with entry-level Nikon gear. I'll throw up my screen share here real quick. And so I have 3. You guys can see me there. That's great. These are 3 different photos. I tried to spread it out a little bit. And what I wanted to highlight is these photos made me feel connected. Raymond's waving to himself infinitely, to himself, to himself, to himself. So here's the first photo by Kevin. Kevin Zana. He took this with a D3200, the $100 50 Nifty 50. So you know, pretty cheap stuff, but quality is high with the Nifty 50. That's why everyone loves it. This photo is great. It's a great portrait. You know, it has a little bit of vibe. It's a little edgy. Um, if you put this up with maybe a D800 or something, and put it on Flickr, I'd be very hard to tell which one was which off the hop.
Oh, 100%. That lighting is great. The background perfectly lit. She looks fantastic.
Yeah, there's some emotion there. It looks like he's done a good job getting her into a position that she really liked. And yeah, it was taken with a D3200. You can do studio stuff with a D3200 if you understand how to take advantage of the camera there.
I love it.
That was a great shot, Kevin. Thank you for putting this on Flickr, and we hope to connect with you. You'll be in the show notes as well.
And for those of you who can't see it, who are just listening, it's a woman. It's kind of shoulders up. It's a medium headshot, shoulders up or chest up rather. And she's not in a provocative pose by any means, but it's clearly a posed photo. She has, nice big poofy hair, and the backdrop is perfectly lit. It's clearly done in a studio with probably some sort of large, softbox, or there's something lighting her, speed light.
Yeah, it's absolutely nice. It's a great shot. I love it. And I'm not a studio guy, so I mean, I'd struggle probably, even with a D800. So I mean, good job, Kevin. The next photo I want to show is this landscape photo.
Holy cow.
Yeah, beautiful, right?
Where is that location?
This, I don't know. I have no idea where this was taken. But it was taken by Harsh Parikh on Flickr. He took this with a D5200, so it's the next model up, but it's still what I believe a lot of people will agree is a more or less entry level, the intermediate of the entry level stuff, which is fine. This was shot at f1.8 on the 35 mm 1.8. I believe that's the DX lens there. So the crop sensor lens. But this is just a beautiful landscape of some mountainsides. You got a little house kind of cabin thing here in the bottom left corner, and in the back you've got these snow-capped sort of mountains emerging behind the forest.
Epic snow-capped mountains.
Epic use of light coming off the snow caps, and probably a little bit of directional sun there coming from the right side of the frame, because you can see the shadows from the trees. But it's just, he's done a great job to involve just the en masse size of those mountains with the cabin.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And taken with a D5200. It was a great job.
And you know what? You know what I like about this photo is that, and I am so sorry if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing that this person is a beginner, like a very beginner, because looking at, what did he shot it at a 1.8, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to landscape stuff, like that's a big no-no. When it comes to landscape stuff, you want to shoot it, f8, f11, f16, f22, because you want everything in focus. You want it to be as sharp as possible. And when you shoot it at a 1.8, very little is in focus. Clearly, he was far enough away to that the lens was just set to infinity, and it turned out great. It turned out absolutely fantastic. But that just shows that even a beginner with a beginner kit can shoot, great photos.
Absolutely. Like, no issue there. This is great job. And I mean, I've even shot some environmental stuff at weddings where I've shot wide open because it's dark and just set to infinity. And I think Raymond was trying to say that, traditional landscape artists will stop down quite heavy to f8, f11, f16, whatever, to get everything tack sharp. But when the situation calls, you can open up whatever you want. And in this case, for Harsh Parikh, it worked.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous photo. So thank you, Mr. Parikh. And then the last photo I wanted to share it's titled Bride's Piano. And I love this photo.
This one is spooky. This has a great feel to it.
Yeah, it's a nice wide photo. I'm soft for pianos. I'm a softie for really soft window light, especially coming through this door. So this was by Steve Dean Mendez. And he shot it on a D3200 with the 10 to 20 mil wide angle.
Okay, so he spent a little bit of cash on that wide angle, but by
Yeah,
no means is it a professional lens or out of reach of somebody who's a real hobbyist.
not real. No, definitely not. And this is also an f8 photo.
Yeah, stop it
So
down.
the stop and down. He shot it at 1/5 of a second at ISO 100. And if you're just listening to us today, it's a shot with a piano that comes from the bottom of the frame and runs out to the left side. And in the background, you've got a little bit of a doorway that looks like it's been kind of closed off with window light coming in, hitting just this banister side of the stairs with another door. It looks like it's probably either an abandoned building or something that's just been left in heritage. Not really sure there, but
Looks
it's
like a real farmhouse, or who knows.
yeah, something like a farmhouse that hasn't been touched, but absolutely beautiful light coming in. And even this photo, even though there's no subject, it's not a traditional environment landscape photo. It has just something that makes you feel something that draws you into this image, and that's why I chose it. Steve Mendes did a great job here, just capturing kind of this almost, just like Raymond said, spooky moment
Yeah.
in this building.
I think what I love most about it is that it looks natural. If you look at the light there on the banister, you think, yeah, that's probably exactly what the light looked like if I was there. The way that it's hitting that looks spot on. There's not too much contrast. He didn't go crazy with saturation or color. It looks natural. And you can almost envision yourself sitting at the edge of that piano right there, and it would look exactly the same as what your eye would see.
Exactly. And that is awesome. That is kind of just everything you want in a photograph, to pull
Yeah.
someone in, to make them feel like they're inside that photograph.
Is there any way that we can look at a few more of his photos? Maybe go to his photo stream and see some other work? Because man, I'm loving this.
Sure. Here's some more from
Oh,
Steve.
wow.
Here's D3200 again, guys. Yeah, it looks like he's consistent with the D3200. That's a beautiful photo with the light coming in.
This is clearly an abandoned house.
Yeah.
There are old Victorian couches and chairs and garbage and
Just crazy.
papers thrown everywhere. The wallpaper is coming off the wall. There's no roof.
Yeah. Let's go for one more. Let's see. We got some other stuff here, portraits of people. But I'll even go somewhere different with this. This all looks pretty. He looks like he shoots wide quite a lot. Here's something that's just not, like, I don't even know what this is. This is a abandoned power plant in Belgium. This is a beautiful photo. F8, it looks like it's from the bottom side of the coal burning portion of the plant.
Yeah.
And you're looking up into the sky, well exposed. The sky's not totally outblown. You get a lot of shadow, obviously, as you come deeper into the hole. And it's kind of, yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. Shot at f8 on the D3200, 1/6 of a second at 10 mil, so really wide. Absolutely beautiful photo. So great work from Steve there over a couple photos.
Yeah, we have got to talk to this guy. I love this guy's, kind of very landscapey, environmental. It looks like this guy just goes out and has a good time when he's shooting. It doesn't look like he's going out and trying to get anything, that he has any agenda. His body of work just looks like, you know what, I'm going to go out, I'm going to have a good day. And if I don't get anything, fantastic that I want to show anybody, then I still had a great day, out just kind of walking around in nature.
It looks like he also, and I mean, if I come back here, he looks like he's patient as a photographer. He doesn't look like he's rushing around taking tons of photos that could just be anyone taking a photo. You can go to any one of these photos, and it's like he's been very deliberate about his composition. This photo especially, same idea. He's really paid attention to the light falling down the stairs here, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, another abandoned house, possibly. I don't know. It's kind of
like there's newer stuff in the house, but could be abandoned. It looks like it's sort of broken up there on the wall a little bit. So who knows? But that was all great stuff from Steve.
Yeah. Again.
So there's just some amazing stuff. that you can do with beginner entry kit. You don't need to buy a D800.
I really hope that we could show people today that not only that gear doesn't matter as much as they think that it does, but that photography for a lot of people is a hobby, and hobbies are meant to be fun, and they're meant to be exciting. And what makes things exciting is going out and, kind of messing around with what you got. And I think that when a lot of people get a lot of new gear, or that they lust after the stuff that they, get and they spend all this money on, they kind of lose sight of what it is that they wanted to do with it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Gas gear acquisition syndrome is a serious thing. I went through it as a beginner. Raymond might have went through it. I'm not really sure. Everybody has to go through it. We'll talk about things like that way down the line, but we want you to have fun. But yeah, if you lose sight of the purpose of why you started photography, you're gonna be just chasing the next big thing that you think will do the work for you, or create happiness. And photography really is just fun when you just get outside or even just in your living room. It doesn't even matter. Anywhere you want to be, you can have a great time with it. You just have to be patient and want to capture the world as you're seeing it.
Exactly. And knowing your gear is just as important. If you know that you can control your camera's shutter speed, you know that you can control your camera's aperture, and you know that you can control, or even if you can't control your camera's film speed or ISO, as long as you can control the other two things, you're good. You can create whatever your mind wants to create.
Yeah, you're 2/3 the way there, and you're going to be able to nail it. And you just get better.
Get better all the time.
Yeah, it's the name of the game right there, if it even is a game.
If it is a game, I'm probably in last place. So
second last, at least.
Second last. Well, I'm having fun.
Tied for last.
I think you can be tied for last. We're tied for last.
We're tied for last. You guys are winning. We're tied for last.
Exactly. See, we got a lot of pressure that a lot of people don't have trying to run your own business and try to get clients and stuff. Just go out there, have fun, man. Have fun.
All the fun. This has been a great podcast. We should wrap it up. I know you guys are busy today, doing whatever you're doing in the world.
Hopefully shooting.
Hopefully going out and photographing. Anything that just captures your imagination. Work on your exposure triangles. Work on your composition. Work on capturing emotion. Just go have fun.
Things that matter. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always much more important than your gear. So we hope you've enjoyed this podcast, and you checked out the ones. You enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you check out our previous ones, and you stick around to capture the ones in the future. This is the future, my direction future.
Really? Because I see it that way.
Yeah, so it's confusing.
Yeah.
But if you like, subscribe, and we will catch you soon.
All right, guys. We will be back next week with another action-packed podcast. I think Callum's going to bring cake. I might bring some punch or something.
Carrot cake.
Oh, that sounds fun. So you got to be there for that. And we're excited. So we will see you then, all right?
All right. Have a great day, guys and girls.
Later.